Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we unpack the stories behind the headlines, cut through the noise, and really get straight to the insights that matter to you. Now imagine for a moment that feeling, you know, flipping through your actual passport. Each physical stamp is like a crisp, tangible memory, a journey taken, a destination explored, a moment etched in time, or maybe for you, it's more that satisfying ding of accumulating loyalty points, watching them add up, knowing they'll soon unlock, I don't know, that amazing first-class upgrade or a really luxurious hotel stay. That feeling of achievement, right, of a journey documented, of a reward earned, it's something deeply ingrained in us as travelers, as consumers. It's almost like a universal language of experience. But what if those memories, those cherished memories and the exclusive access they unlock, what if they were evolving? What if they were stepping into a completely new, unforgeable digital form? One that, crucially, you truly own. It sounds a bit like science fiction, maybe. An unexpected leap, yet when you really stop and think about it, maybe it's a profoundly logical evolution of this very human experience.
Today, we are plunging headfirst into a truly groundbreaking announcement that's making serious waves across both the financial and the tech landscapes. We're talking about American Express. A name synonymous with global finance, premium travel, and a certain level of exclusivity. Amex is making a significant and, frankly, pretty fascinating leap into the Web3 space. Their new initiative, it involves NFT-based digital passport stamps. Yeah, you heard that right, digital passport stamps for travelers. Now, okay, for those of you who might be a bit new to this terminology, or maybe you've only heard NFT thrown around with digital art, let's just quickly touch on a few core ideas. An NFT, right, non-fungible token. It's basically a unique, verifiable digital asset. Think of it like a digital certificate of authenticity and ownership for a digital item in this case, maybe a digital travel memory or a milestone. These NFTs, they live on something called a blockchain. And a blockchain at its simplest is like a decentralized, immutable digital ledger.
Imagine a global, sort of unhackable public record where every transaction, every piece of data, like your digital stamp, is permanently recorded and verified by, tons of computers. Makes it impossible to forge or alter. And Web3, that's kind of the shorthand for the next generation of the internet, built on these decentralized blockchain technologies. The whole idea is aiming to give users like you more ownership and control over your data, your digital assets, moving beyond the big centralized platforms we're all used to.
Exactly. And our mission today is really to unpack this MX announcement from, every possible angle. We want to understand its implications, which are, frankly, multifaceted for you, whether you're a frequent traveler, an Amex cardholder yourself, or maybe just really curious about the future of digital identity, rewards, and ownership. Because this isn't just some minor new loyalty perk we're talking about. It signals a potentially massive shift, not only in how we think about loyalty programs, but maybe in the broader digital economy itself. Could Amex's move truly bridge that gap between, abstract digital assets and tangible everyday experiences? Or is it just another corporate experiment in a, let's face it, still pretty volatile space? That's kind of the central question, the tension we want to explore today.
Right. And to do that, we've stacked up quite a bit of material. We're drawing from some really sharp expert analyses that dig into the blockchain side of things, the mechanics, plus comprehensive crypto industry insights, looking at market sentiment, adoption trends, that sort of thing, and also detailed reports on corporate Web3 integration from some top firms. Our goal is really to give you that holistic view, the full picture, hopefully without the information overload.
Yeah, think of this deep dive as your shortcut, maybe. A way to get exceptionally well-informed about a truly cutting-edge development. And it's a development that could genuinely reshape how you interact with brands, how you value experiences, maybe even how you perceive and, crucially, own your own digital footprint in the coming years. This is about moving beyond just consuming experiences, towards truly owning and collecting pieces of your life's journey in a new, verifiable way. It's a subtle shift, but a powerful one.
Okay, that sets the stage perfectly. So if that's the big picture, the vision, let's zoom right in, the actual mechanics.
Yeah.
What exactly are these digital passport stamps from American Express? Are they just like another pretty picture you save on your phone, or is there something genuinely more profound going on here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it gets right to the heart of what makes this initiative so compelling and, I think, genuinely innovative. These aren't simply digital images you might screenshot or save to your camera roll, no. Nor are they just, stylized JPEGs floating around somewhere in the cloud. American Express is rolling out NFT-based digital passport stamps. And they're meticulously designed to serve as verifiable digital travel mementos. What's really fascinating here is that they represent this sophisticated blend. You've got the traditional, highly valued loyalty perks Amex is known for, right? Exclusive access, recognition. But it's blended with cutting-edge blockchain technology.
So the NFT part is really the key differentiator from just a digital image.
Absolutely crucial, because it implies unique digital ownership. It implies provable scarcity, and maybe most importantly, it implies programmable utility for the future. A regular digital image. You can copy it, edit it, lose it, whatever. An NFT, though, is a unique digital asset. Its ownership is recorded immutably on the blockchain. Think of it like this. You get that physical ink stamp in your actual passport, right? Marks a journey taken, verified by border control. This digital version does something similar conceptually, but it lives securely on the blockchain. It's owned directly by you, and critically, it can't be lost, forged, or replicated without authorization.
Okay, so it's tamper-proof.
Exactly. It's a unique, tamper-proof digital record of your travel experience, verifiable, and inherently loaded with potential future utility. For instance, it might not just mark your visit to, say, Paris. It could be programmed to reflect a specific exclusive Amex experience you had there, maybe a private museum tour they arranged or a special culinary workshop. That creates a much richer, more dynamic, and importantly, verifiable digital memento than a simple photo ever could. It's really about owning a true digital piece of your personal travel history, a verifiable piece.
So it's way more than just a digital souvenir then. It's a verifiable record backed by the blockchain with this potential for attached utility down the line. That really is where it gets interesting. It moves beyond being just a picture, becoming like a dynamic digital asset in its own right.
Okay, now who exactly is Amex targeting with this? Is it for all cardholders or is it a more specific group? Primarily, these digital stamps are aimed squarely at Amex cardholders, yes, but with a particular focus on their frequent travelers. And this demographic is, well, in many ways, it's an ideal group to start with for this kind of innovation.
Makes sense.
Frequent travelers, they're often early adopters when it comes to new experiences, right? They tend to place a high value on unique perks, on exclusive access, and maybe even on novel ways to document their journeys. And Amex has historically done a great job cultivating this segment, offering that premium service, those distinct benefits that set them apart.
Yeah, that fits perfectly. Amex has always built its brand on that premium service, that sort of aspirational image, targeting high-value customers. This initiative feels like a really natural extension of that exclusivity, just bringing it into a very modern, cutting-edge digital format.
Precisely. Amex built its brand on exclusivity, on a curated experience. And this absolutely extends that prestige into the digital realm, but in a very current way. It's likely a pretty shrewd dual strategy, actually. On one hand, you're deepening loyalty with your existing high-value customers. You're offering them novel, exclusive digital experiences that reinforce their premium status. It's like saying, we get you, we're innovating for you.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's also clearly a strategic move to attract a newer, younger, perhaps more Web3 native segment. You know, digitally fluent consumers, typically millennials, Gen Z, who value digital ownership, unique experiences, and brands that seem forward-thinking.
So it's both retaining and attracting.
I think so. It's a clever blend of that established brand prestige with a very forward-looking digital strategy. And for you, the listener, if you happen to be an Amex cardholder, this could soon become a really tangible, maybe even valuable part of your travel experience. It could transform how your journeys are not just recorded, but owned, shared, and potentially rewarded in ways we're maybe only just starting to imagine. It could turn your personal travel log into this dynamic, verifiable record of your adventures with all the potential benefits that digital ownership brings.
This is definitely sounding like a game changer, moving way beyond just a simple new perk. So let's really dig into why this specific move by American Express is so significant beyond just the surface level. First off, it feels like a huge validation for NFTs themselves, doesn't it? Pushing them far beyond that, speculative art market phase.
It absolutely does. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. When a top-tier financial giant like American Express, a brand with over 170 years of history, a sterling reputation for stability, premium service, when they integrate NFTs into their core offering, that sends an undeniable signal right across the corporate world. It significantly validates the entire NFT space. It helps move it beyond that earlier perception, which was often linked to speculative digital art or, quirky profile pictures that dominated headlines and, let's be honest, attracted a fair bit of skepticism a few years back.
Yeah, the hype cycle.
Exactly. AMX's entry really shifts the narrative from pure speculative trading towards tangible utility. It signals a maturing market and a serious corporate interest in the underlying blockchain tech for practical business applications. Not just hype.
You mentioned validation. innovation, but for a listener who's still maybe a bit skeptical, aren't there still, potential hurdles? Regulatory concerns, environmental questions around blockchain that a company like Amex would have to navigate carefully. How does a traditional financial giant square those circles while building trust in something still seen as pretty experimental by a lot of people?
That's a super important point. Amex, as a heavily regulated financial institution, operates under immense scrutiny, which means any move like this is highly calculated, not impulsive. They're almost certainly using or planning to use more environmentally friendly blockchain solutions, maybe private or permission chains, or working with Web3 infrastructure providers who focus specifically on sustainability and lower energy consumption. Their very involvement, given their reputation and regulatory oversight, signals that these concerns are being actively addressed at an institutional level. They wouldn't risk their brand otherwise.
So their participation itself is a signal of responsible development.
In a way, yes. This move could serve as a powerful signal to other hesitant corporations across all sorts of sectors. It essentially says, look, this technology is here to stay. It has practical, potentially responsible applications, and even a legacy financial institution can leverage it successfully and safely. It legitimizes the underlying tech and encourages others to explore blockchain applications with real-world utility, perhaps pushing past some of those initial reservations or fears. Just think about how the conversation around major banks exploring crypto changed so dramatically from, say, 5 years ago to now. Amex is doing something quite similar for utility NFTs, showing a clear path from cautious curiosity to active integration and, hopefully, responsible deployment.
I mean, that makes sense. And it's not just about validating the tech itself. This feels like a fundamental innovation in how we even think about travel loyalty, moving far beyond just collecting points and miles.
That's spot on. This move pushes NFTs firmly into the experience economy. It's moving well beyond simple digital collectibles. Think about traditional loyalty programs. As effective as they've been, they often suffer from several issues, right? There's breakage. Billions of dollars in points just go unused every year. They can feel purely transactional, sometimes lacking that emotional connection. And they often suffer from, well, opacity or unexpected devaluations where your points suddenly aren't worth as much.
Yeah. That's always frustrating.
Isn't it? NFTs, though, can introduce elements like scarcity, uniqueness, and a much greater sense of collectability and actual achievement linked to experiences. They represent a fundamental evolution, moving from simply accumulating fungible points, which are essentially commodities, interchangeable, to collecting verifiable, unique milestones that actually tell a story about your journeys and your achievements.
So less about quantity, more about the quality and uniqueness of the experience recorded.
Precisely. And we can reasonably speculate that this model could lead to far more personalized, exclusive, and less fungible rewards down the line. Imagine not just getting, say, a generic free night at a hotel chain. Imagine an NFT that permanently enshrines your 10th anniversary stay at a specific historic hotel in Rome. A truly unique digital artifact of that personal milestone.
Okay, that feels different, more meaningful.
Right. And that NFT itself could then be programmed to grant you, say, perpetual VIP access to their exclusive historic archives, or maybe priority booking for special themed experiences years later. It makes that memory a living asset with ongoing utility. This could fundamentally change how you perceive and engage with loyalty programs, potentially offering rewards that aren't just more valuable in a strict monetary sense, but also deeply more meaningful and memorable. They could become part of your digital legacy almost.
That really does sound like a powerful way for Amex to future-proof its brand, solidify that premium image, and maybe appeal to new generations of consumers who value different things.
Absolutely. This initiative is clearly a strategic alignment with younger, potentially Web3 native customers. Brands are always in this constant race to connect with new demographics, right? Especially those who will be driving consumer trends for decades to come. Millennials and Gen Z in particular, they're digitally fluent, they grew up online, they understand digital ownership intuitively, and they're generally more open to new tech like blockchain, especially when it offers genuine utility or unique experiences.
They prioritize experiences often, too.
Exactly. They often prioritize authentic experiences and verifiable achievements, perhaps over purely materialistic acquisitions sometimes. So by adopting NFTs, Amex positions itself not just as, a legacy financial institution, but as innovative, forward-thinking, and highly relevant in this rapidly evolving digital landscape. It's more than just a tech play. It's a strategic move to future-proof the brand, ensure its enduring relevance. It's about cultivating loyalty with consumers who might prioritize digital ownership, verifiable experiences, and unique personalized rewards that reflect their personal story.
Like Starbucks did with their Odyssey program.
Very similar conceptual underpinning, yes. We've seen how brands like Starbucks have successfully used digital initiatives like Odyssey to engage younger audiences, creating a sense of community and gamification around everyday purchases. Amex appears to be following a similar playbook, but perhaps on a grander, more impactful scale within the high-value travel sector, blending their established prestige with a clear vision for the future of digital engagement.
And finally, what really stands out here is how this initiative showcases a powerful, practical utility for blockchain technology itself, demonstrating that NFTs can represent so much more than just digital art. It's moving from purely aesthetic NFTs to functional, utility-driven digital assets.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this further because it's key. At its core, remember, an NFT is just a unique, verifiable digital token recorded on a blockchain. While popular perception, as we said, often got fixated on digital art or profile pictures, Amex's initiative pivots that narrative quite dramatically. Here, the NFT's utility isn't primarily in depicting a static image. It's in recording and validating an event or an achievement.
Right, the action, not just the picture.
Precisely. An Amex digital passport stamp isn't just art, it's a digital receipt, it's a verifiable record of a travel milestone, uniquely owned by you. And this paradigm shift, thinking of NFTs as verifiable records of experience, it opens up a vast, almost limitless array of potential applications for blockchain technology, well beyond what many people initially imagined.
So if we follow that logic,
Yeah.
what else could be tokenized beyond travel?
Well, if we extrapolate from this, think about it. What other real-world milestones or achievements could realistically be tokenized? Imagine diplomas, certifications from universities becoming verifiable NFTs. Suddenly, credentials become fraud-proof and instantly shareable, verifiable, or significant life events, weddings, births recorded as immutable digital keepsakes for families, sporting achievements maybe, volunteer hours for charitable causes. Even participation in important civic initiatives could potentially become these experience-based NFTs.
Wow. Okay.
Once this concept gains widespread traction, maybe spurred by initiatives like Amex's, the possibilities for recording, verifying, and perhaps even rewarding these milestones become immense. It could create a whole new layer of digital provenance for our lives. It's really about establishing a digital infrastructure for trust and verifiable experience, which is incredibly powerful when you think about it.
That is a huge shift in perception and application for blockchain tech itself. Really highlights the versatility. Okay, so building on that foundation, what are the ripple effects? What happens if Amex really nails this? What kind of impact does that have across the market, on competitors, on the broader NFT space, other industries?
The Amex effect. Yeah, that's a very real concept here, and it could be profound. If American Express succeeds with this initiative, if they demonstrate clear customer adoption, enhance loyalty, maybe even uncover new revenue streams, you can absolutely expect other global brands to follow suit, particularly its direct competitors.
Visa, MasterCard.
Exactly. Think giants like Visa and MasterCard. The financial industry is fiercely competitive, innovation is a constant driver, and these major players watch each other's strategic moves like hawks. If one giant makes a successful, high-profile leap into a new technological space like this, others will rapidly assess, analyze, and likely emulate or even try to one-up it. This could trigger a powerful domino effect right across the financial services sector, potentially inspiring a whole cascade of Web3-enabled loyalty programs and other unique digital offerings.
So we're not just talking about other credit card companies then. This could influence a much wider range of businesses globally.
Precisely. This isn't just contained within financial services, it signals a broader trend across many industries. We could see a significant surge in corporate interest and, importantly, investment in NFT projects that offer real-world utility. Moving beyond purely speculative ventures, this could actually help stabilize market sentiment around NFTs, shifting the focus away from, volatile trading and sometimes ephemeral digital art towards more sustainable, value-driven applications. Think about how traditional investors, who typically look for long-term stability, might react to headlines blending a trusted old-school finance brand like Amex with this cutting-edge crypto technology. It signals a potential maturation of the asset class.
Right, it makes it seem less fringe.
Exactly. This blend of traditional finance with Web3 innovations suggests a growing confidence, at least among some major players, in the underlying technology's stability and future potential. That could attract a more diverse and perhaps more institutional class of investor over time.
And speaking of loyalty, you mentioned points and miles earlier. What does this truly mean for the future of those loyalty programs? It's such a massive market, feels ripe for some kind of change.
So, yeah, what does this all mean for your wallet, how you interact with your favorite brands? This move by Amex strongly hints at a potential future where loyalty points, airline miles, various perks aren't just digital entries in a database, but actually tokenized, meaning they live on a blockchain as distinct assets. And this fundamental change, if it happens broadly, would make them potentially tradable or at least interoperable across different platforms or brands in ways we can, well, barely imagine today.
Interoperable, like using airline miles for hotel stays, easily.
Potentially, yes. Traditional loyalty points, they often suffer from being siloed, right? Stuck within one brand's ecosystem. They're usually non-transferable. And they're subject to those often opaque expiry dates or sudden devaluations that leave consumers feeling pretty powerless. Tokenization could fundamentally unlock unprecedented liquidity and flexibility for these assets. Imagine being able to seamlessly trade your excess airline miles for hotel points right when you need them. Or perhaps even sell them on a secure, transparent marketplace if you've got a ton you know you won't use.
Selling points, wow.
It's not just hypothetical, it's a transformative concept that could profoundly disrupt the entire global loyalty economy, which, as you said, is a massive market exceeding $200 billion annually. Now, it raises important questions, of course. How would brands manage their liabilities? How would value be exchanged transparently? How would consumers actually value these new dynamic digital assets? But it could create entirely new secondary markets for loyalty rewards, giving you, the consumer, unprecedented control and flexibility over the value you've accumulated, moving from a system of sort of corporate-controlled points to personal-owned digital assets.
That really is a powerful shift, a potential power shift back towards the consumer. It also sounds like a massive opportunity then for the entire travel and hospitality industry, not just Amex itself.
Oh, absolutely. This Amex initiative, it creates a huge window of opportunity for blockchain projects, for startups focusing specifically on the hospitality and travel sectors. Amex's move isn't just about Amex. It serves as this powerful, high-profile proof of concept for the entire sector. It demonstrates a potentially viable, scalable business model for integrating blockchain tech to enhance customer experience, deepen loyalty, create new forms of engagement.
So it could spark a lot more innovation across the board.
It really could. This might spur a wave of innovation across the industry. Maybe new decentralized booking systems, real-time baggage tracking using blockchain, more secure identity verification processes at airports or hotels. Even entirely new kinds of personalized blockchain-secured travel experiences we haven't even thought of yet. We could see a proliferation of startups and even established players vying to build the infrastructure, the platforms, the services needed to support these emerging Web3 travel experiences. Think about decentralized travel agencies offering transparent pricing, maybe cutting out intermediaries, or blockchain-secured booking platforms that significantly reduce fraud and enhance trust between parties.
And are we already seeing this trend?
Yeah, reports from industry analysts who track travel industry Web3 experiments show a growing number of brands already launching NFT initiatives. Amex's entry just adds significant weight and legitimacy to this trend. It signals that the industry seems to be moving from cautious observation to much more active participation.
It feels like more than just a technological shift, though. It feels almost cultural, changing how we perceive and value our own experiences.
It truly could be. What's fascinating here is that travel milestones, recorded as NFTs, could indeed become these digitally verifiable collectibles, much like people collect rare stamps or coins, but these have embedded, maybe dynamic utility. And this concept, experiential NFTs, could easily extend way beyond travel. Imagine a concert ticket. Not just entry, but an NFT that serves as a collectible memento afterwards. Maybe it grants you exclusive post-event content, like behind-the-scenes footage, or even gives you priority access to future events from that artist or venue.
Or hotel stays.
Or a hotel stay, yeah. Recorded as an NFT, maybe it offers tiered access to amenities or personalized offers based on your verified history with that specific brand or even that specific hotel. This is a clear, undeniable sign that financial incumbents like American Express aren't merely observing Web3 from the sidelines anymore. They are actively experimenting with blockchain strategically to stay relevant, to stay competitive, and perhaps to lead the charge into new forms of digital engagement.
So it's strategic, not just trendy.
I think so. It represents a significant cultural shift in how we perceive and value digital assets. It's about potentially owning a verifiable piece of your experience, not just consuming it and having it disappear. It also signifies that major corporations aren't just jumping on hype. They seem to be actively shaping the practical applications of Web3, using blockchain not just out of speculative fervor, but for clear strategic business reasons, enhancing loyalty, creating new potential revenue streams, engaging customers in novel ways that might really resonate with a digitally native generation. It represents a significant evolution, potentially, in how digital ownership and access are managed, creating maybe a more enduring connection between consumers and brands through these verifiable, valuable experiences.
This all sounds incredibly futuristic, potentially deeply impactful. But it's really important to remember, isn't it, that Amex isn't operating in a vacuum here. They're building on things that already exist. There are fascinating precedents, parallels in the Web3 space that have kind of paved the way for this moment.
That's a crucial point, absolutely. One of the earliest, most high-profile signals from a major financial player in the space was actually when Visa bought a CryptoPunk back in 2021. Now, it was different in nature, right? A collectible profile picture NFT versus Amex's utility stamp. But Visa's move was still an early, very high-profile acknowledgement from a financial behemoth that NFTs were a space to watch, to understand, and potentially even to invest in. It showed foresight, I think, and a willingness to engage with this emerging digital asset landscape, even if it was primarily an exploratory investment at that stage.
So Visa was kind of like a reconnaissance mission, dipping a toe into the potential of NFTs, and Amex is now moving into more active deployment, building actual real-world utility on top.
That's a good way to put it. Visa's move was primarily an investment in a digital collectible, a digital artifact. It was about understanding the asset class, its market dynamics. Amex's initiative is about creating a new form of digital collectible that is intrinsically tied directly to a real-world service and a customer experience. It demonstrates that gradual, but I think increasingly confident, exploratory approach by financial institutions, moving from merely understanding the asset class to actively building utility on top of it, creating new digital products for their customers.
Okay, and a more direct parallel, maybe more relatable for many listeners, would be something like the Starbucks Odyssey program, right? Which directly links NFTs to loyalty.
Absolutely. The Starbucks Odyssey program is a really crucial case study here
Yeah.
because it directly links NFTs to their loyalty program and to tangible everyday experiences like buying coffee. It provides a fantastic real-world example of how a major non-crypto native brand successfully integrated Web3 for customer engagement. And it proved, I think, that mainstream consumers are quite receptive to NFT-based rewards when the utility is clear, when the experience is seamless, and maybe when there's a sense of community or gamification involved. That program lets users earn journey stamps, which are NFTs, by completing activities, and those then unlock exclusive benefits and experiences.
Right, and as you mentioned earlier, listeners might already be familiar with that Starbucks approach. Amex seems to be taking a similar concept, digital collectibles as loyalty rewards, but applying it to the, well, much larger, more complex, perhaps higher value world of travel and premium experiences.
And it's not just Starbucks setting these precedents either. Even within the travel sector itself, we've seen some pioneering efforts before Amex. Lufthansa's UpTrip app, for instance. That already offers blockchain-based NFT collectibles for their frequent flyers. Passengers can collect these digital trading cards linked to flights and destinations.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it demonstrates that the travel industry itself has been experimenting with NFTs for customer engagement for some time now, well before this specific Amex announcement. A major airline like Lufthansa seeing tangible value in digital collectibles for passenger engagement and loyalty. That shows a sector-wide trend that Amex is now really amplifying and elevating with its brand prestige and its global reach.
And it's not just airlines, right? You mentioned hotel chains are also sort of testing the waters.
Indeed. Both Hilton and Marriott, two of the absolute largest hotel chains globally, have already tested NFT-based travel perks and digital collectibles in various pilot programs. These experiments, they further solidify the trend. They show that major players right across the hospitality sector are actively exploring how NFTs might enhance guest experiences, offer unique access, or deepen loyalty in innovative ways. And these early tests, they provide really valuable data and insights, right, into consumer receptiveness, what kind of utility people actually want, the technical challenges involved. all of which ultimately informs later, larger scale, maybe more refined deployments like what Amex is doing now. It's a cumulative learning process across the whole industry.
And underpinning a lot of these utility-based NFTs, including conceptually what Amex is doing, are ideas like POAPs, right?
Yep.
Proof of attendance.
This raises that important question. Where do these ideas even come from? This concept of digital proof of experience, POAPs, yeah, proof of attendance protocol tokens. They're really a foundational concept in the broader Web3 space. They are simply non-fungible tokens specifically designed to verify attendance or participation at an event, could be a virtual conference, a physical gathering, even just a community call online. Amex is essentially taking this core, proven concept, verifying attendance or participation, and brilliantly adapting it.
Applying it to travel.
Exactly. Applying it directly to travel milestones and experiences. They're leveraging an established, widely accepted Web3 idea and bringing it to a much more mainstream audience through their platform. And this connection, I think it highlights that Amex isn't just randomly jumping on some speculative bandwagon. They seem to be intelligently adopting a proven, useful blockchain application and meticulous adapting it for their specific business model. It really validates the underlying utility of proof of attendance far beyond just niche crypto conferences. It shows a thoughtful, strategic approach to Web3 integration, not just following hype.
It's really clear then that this isn't just an isolated move by American Express. It's definitely part of a much larger interconnected picture of innovation building on existing blocks. So let's zoom out again now and look at those broader implications. The role of data, those shifting demographics we talked about, and the real potential for industry-wide disruption.
Okay, yeah. So when we look at NFT transaction volume trends, particularly if you compare the speculative bull run peaks of a couple of years ago to the current levels of corporate adoption, we see a really fascinating and crucial shift happening. While the overall NFT trading volume might have cooled significantly from those, frankly, dizzying speculative highs, the nature of adoption is evolving dramatically. Corporate utility-driven initiatives like this Amex one, even if they don't generate massive trading volume initially on open secondary markets, they represent a far more sustainable and, I think, ultimately more impactful form of adoption.
So less trading frenzy, more riot building.
Exactly. It indicates a profound maturation of the market, moving steadily away from that speculative fervor where prices were often driven purely by hype and FOMO towards practical application, where the value is actually derived from inherent utility and real-world benefits. The traditional volume metric, which often tracked secondary market sales of digital art PFP projects, might itself evolve. Maybe it starts to encompass the sheer number of utility-based NFTs being minted and actively used by mainstream consumers, not just traded. Reports from leading analytics firms like Messari, Chainalysis, they consistently highlight the strategic shift away from purely speculative assets towards more functional, experience-based tokens.
And Amex is definitely not alone in this space, as we've discussed. It's part of the growing wave, almost a groundswell, you could say, within the travel and hospitality industry specifically.
Absolutely. The increasing number of brands launching NFT initiatives, specifically within travel and hospitality, it indicates a broader industry-wide conviction that Web3 holds significant, largely untapped potential for enhancing customer engagement and maybe even operational efficiency. Amex isn't an outlier here. It's a major, influential player stepping into a growing wave of exploration and implementation. This collective movement, you've got airlines, hotels, now payment giants, all experimenting it, suggests that Web3 might become an essential rather than just an optional component of the travel industry's digital strategy going forward. It creates powerful network effects too, right? Making adoption more appealing and beneficial for individual companies as more players enter the space, setting new benchmarks for digital innovation.
And we keep mentioning the size of the global loyalty economy, but it's worth just reiterating how truly massive this market is and therefore the sheer scale of the potential disruption opportunity.
It's genuinely colossal. We are talking about potentially disrupting a global loyalty economy worth well over $200 billion annually. It's huge. Traditional loyalty programs, while effective in some ways historically, they have these inherent limitations we've touched on. Points expiring, difficulty transferring or combining them across brands, lack of transparency, often disengaged consumers. Tokenization offers a potentially direct and elegant pathway to solve many of these fundamental problems by introducing unprecedented liquidity, flexibility, and true ownership for these loyalty assets.
So the disruption potential is massive.
Immense. The potential disruption here could manifest in entirely new business models for loyalty programs, significantly increased consumer choice in how they use and value their rewards, and a fundamental shift in how value is exchanged in these complex ecosystems. It's not just about American Express or any single brand, it's about a potential fundamental restructuring of how companies globally reward and retain their customers, potentially putting you, the consumer, in a position of much greater power and control over the value you generate.
Imagine that power shift. If you, the consumer, truly owned and controlled your loyalty assets across different brands, able to move them, trade them, maybe even sell them as you see fit.
It's a powerful thought.
And who is best positioned, maybe almost expecting, to embrace this kind of shift towards digital ownership and utility? The younger generations, right? They seem key here.
Yeah, precisely. We really need to consider that critical overlap between millennials and Gen Z travelers and their adoption rates for crypto and Web3 concepts. This demographic is absolutely crucial for any brand looking to future-proof its business for the next few decades. They are digitally native, right? They grew up with the internet, smartphones. Digital ownership is an intuitive concept for many of them. They're often more open to new financial technologies. And importantly, they often place a very high value on experiences, authenticity, and verifiable digital assets.
So Amex is speaking their language, essentially.
It seems like it. Amex's move strategically targets this intersection, catering to a generation that will be the dominant consumer base for decades to come. And the success of initiatives like Amex's could, in turn, significantly further drive mainstream crypto and Web3 adoption among this demographic. By showing tangible benefits and utility beyond just investment speculation, it could make these Web3 concepts far more accessible, more relevant to everyday life, transforming abstract technologies into practical tools for enhancing their actual experiences. If you've fallen into this demographic, Amex is very directly speaking to your interests and your technological comfort level, positioning themselves as a brand that understands and innovates for your future.
Okay, so to bring it all together then for our listener, these Amex NFT passport stamps, they are far more than just some new digital toy or gimmick. They really represent a truly significant strategic step towards mainstream Web3 adoption, especially within that highly valuable experience economy.
Indeed. And this isn't just about collecting digital trinkets, is it? It's about the potential for transformative change in loyalty programs, offering you, the consumer, potentially more flexibility, greater ownership, and maybe a more meaningful, verifiable engagement with the brands you trust and the experiences you cherish. It's a move that seems to recognize and empower the digital native generation.
And it powerfully underscores that this is part of a much larger trend: corporate experimentation, innovation in the blockchain space. We're witnessing what could be a pivotal shift, moving from theoretical discussions and niche applications towards tangible, real-world utility that could reshape entire industries.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we've really journeyed from American Express's specific announcement about these NFT passport stamps all the way out to its broader implications for how we define loyalty, how we experience travel, and indeed the entire evolving Web3 ecosystem. It seems pretty clear this isn't just a gimmick. It feels like a serious strategic play by a major influential brand looking to define the future of customer engagement and digital ownership. So maybe consider this as you go about your day. If your digital passport stamps, your loyalty points, maybe all your accumulated verifiable experiences, if they truly become tradable, owned assets on the blockchain, how much could your personal travel history, your unique accumulated memories and journeys, how much could that truly be worth in a future digital economy? Could the very memories of your adventures become a new form of digital wealth, an enduring legacy of your life's explorations that you genuinely own and control?
It's definitely a provocative thought, isn't it? Something to mull over as you contemplate how these powerful trends might impact other aspects of your digital life too, from education credentials maybe to professional achievements. We really encourage you to stay curious, keep exploring this space, and of course join us next time for another deep dive into the ever-evolving landscape of technology, finance, and culture.